Hi, my name is Raymond. I'm 34 years old and I am living with PTSD. The most traumatic and frightening experience I've had in my life so far could be summed up in a couple. One big one is I was in gangs in my younger years. I was involved in a fist fight and was shot 3 times, twice through my leg and once on a separate day in my side. That event affects me now in a number of ways. I have a lot of nightmares, not only from that event, but other events from trauma in my childhood. Grew up in an abusive home with drugs and violence and gangs, so I have a lot of bad dreams, dreams that my girl has to wake me up. I have flashbacks, I have fireworks, cars go off, I drop to the ground, gets me really shaky. It affects me in a lot of different ways. I think about that event quite a lot. I dream about it, so it makes me think about it more after I have a dream. I think about it when I hear a boom or a bang. It always comes back. It comes back in different ways, but constantly. I do feel like the thoughts of that event do force their way into my mind quite a bit. Out of nowhere, it'll just hit you like a bang. It's quite unnerving. I don't quite have flashbacks to feel like it's happening all over again. I do have dreams. I guess you consider that a flashback, but the dreams are very vivid, very real. I wake up screaming, flailing my fists around. That happens almost every night. I do find myself avoiding things that I associate with that memory by staying away from where that happened and trying to stay away from that aspect of my life. It does bring back a lot of bad memories, and it always leaves me a little rattled. I have had a reason to go back where it took place. I was actually doing a show based on my life, and we had to go basically live through that experience. And I do go and I speak on those experiences and tell people how they affect me. And every time I speak about them, I get shaky and hard to talk, and a little shaky. It's hard to get out. It always makes me feel a little off. Yeah. This trauma and other traumas have affected my life in a whole by just making me a different person, making me a little more careful, a little more scared at normal things people wouldn't even think to be scared of. Dreams, always. Most people have a lot of good dreams. I have a lot of bad dreams. Good dreams come, but I think it affects me every day, and I think it'll continue to affect me, but I try my best to keep on pushing. I think this trauma has affected the way I deal with my feelings. I get angry a little bit more. I've learned to deal with it as time has gone on, but before, when it first happened, I felt like I was mad for no reason. And then when I get scared, when it out of a dream or when it comes back to me, that makes me angry as well, why I have to feel this way. So it does. I don't know if my friendships and relationships have suffered. I know my girlfriend has to put in extra work to make sure I'm okay. She's always there to shake me out of it. So I know it does affect the people around me, and they can see a change in me. So, but I think they deal with it quite well, and I'm lucky to have them in my life. Sometimes I feel numb, maybe coming up out of a dream. I feel like I got a good grasp on things, but sometimes it affects me deep inside, where I just can't get it together. Some of those dreams are so vivid that they leave me shook when I wake up. I'm always talking in my sleep, screaming in my sleep. It probably scares the people next to me more than it should, but yeah. I think that the PTSD has affected things I do differently because I'm more cautious of where I'm going. I'm always looking over my shoulder, always making sure my surroundings are okay. Always on edge, which can be pretty intense sometimes when you just want to go out and hang out with your kids or family and you're worried about who's around that next corner. So yeah, I think it affects what I'm doing daily. I don't know if I feel feelings of guilt. I feel like I shouldn't have put myself in that position. I feel like I could have probably did something different in life, and maybe I wouldn't be feeling this way. But I don't know if I feel guilty. I feel like day-to-day life, I do feel on edge at times, especially when I'm in certain places. I feel like I gotta watch my back. I don't. I shouldn't have to. I mean, I'm not doing anything that I should, but just from those traumatic experiences, it always feels like it could happen again. I do feel like since I've dealt with it so long that my anger and irritability has subsided a lot. I'm not as angry as I used to be a couple years ago. It used to affect me really bad. I used to have really bad anger outbreaks, but now I'm able to deal with it. I'm able to focus. I got my kids to focus on, and my career and my passions. So that helps a lot, to find something that you believe and that you love, and to focus on that. Yeah. So my sleep habits, I have a lot of nightmares constantly. My significant other can account for that. I yell a lot in my sleep. I move a lot. I have a lot of bad dreams. That's one of the main ways this affects me, is when I'm in my sleep, and I just get real rattled when I wake up. Usually somebody wakes me up to get me out of it. I've always told people, if you hear me yelling in my sleep, please wake me up, because usually I'm in something in my dream that I want out of. So I'm thankful when people wake me up out of those circumstances. And when I get out, I'm just a little disoriented. Have a lot of feelings running through me: fear, heart beating, scared, sweating. I think my sleep is one of the big things it affects. I don't sleep well at all. I try not to take any sleeping pills except over the counter, but sometimes I got to, because I toss and turn and my brain just goes over and over things and thinking of traumatic experiences before bed, and that's like the hardest thing I deal with, I think, is the sleep and thinking. So my concentration and struggles I have, I've always had like ADHD, so I'm not very good at focusing on certain things. So this PTSD only adds to that. It makes it a little harder to manage what's going on, what I'm focused on, if I'm worrying about something, if I'm thinking of an old memory. So it all kind of jumbles together. So it keeps me a little scattered sometimes. But I've learned how to control it and deal with it over time. But it does still affect me day to day. Just getting better at being able to deal with it. So the trauma that caused my PTSD, I don't know if it's one trauma, but there are some that are bigger than others. Grew up in an abusive home, drugs, violence, gangs. My mom used to get beat in front of us. She had cancer. We kind of lived in the crack spot. A lot of drugs went through our house. A lot of bad things happened in front of us as kids. That automatically causes trauma. Getting beat up by her boyfriend, stuff like that. That was an everyday occurrence. Having friends get shot in front of me, that's big things that have happened to me. Losing some of my best friends to gang violence, being shot multiple times, being jumped, being attacked. Those are big things that happened to me. The day that I got shot, we were in a fist fight, just guys fight. Thought it was a normal fight. Somebody jumped out of the bushes, shot my cousin twice in the hip, and then shot me in my legs, and then ran up on me, and then he pulled the last shot by me a couple more times, felt the bullets pass me, and then he walked up to me and pulled the trigger again, and it was empty. So that I dream about that. That's a main thing that affects me. But that, and even I went to the joint for a small time, and I have PTSD from the joint, going into sleep, waking up in that cell. I mean, that affected me in my bones as well. So I think it's not just one event. I think it was the multiple events of the trauma and how we came up, how I lived. And I think it affects me, and it affects my friends that I came up with. I think it affects a lot more of us than people think. And yeah, I think the key thing that helped me deal with my PTSD today would be higher education and finding a passion, learning how to believe in myself again, learning how to manage it, having my kids to know that I have to be there for them, and then just to see other people that believed in me, that I still had way more time and more things to do, and it doesn't define me, I define who I am. So I think just pushing, and the people around me and the support systems that I've gained and the mentors that I've gained along the way have helped me deal with this in my life. The one thing I would tell somebody that just got PTSD or that was suffering from it and was just getting into it is to don't give up. Everything gets better with time. You might not ever get rid of it, but you can learn to manage it, and things are better on the other side. And find a goal, find something to believe in, and follow that goal, and just keep pushing, man. Don't let people tell you can't do what you want to do, because you can. So I think some of the trauma relates back to instances. A time I was in prison, or the first time I went to county jail. I got to the county jail. I used to fight a lot when I was out in the streets, so some guys that I must have crossed back in the day found out I was in there, and not even 10 minutes after being in there, they came into my room and jumped me. I held my own and survived it, but I mean, I still have nightmares about that. Having people trying to come in and hurt you and take your life is a traumatic experience. Not another big event is when I got shot. We were in a fist fight, just thinking it was a normal fist fight. The guy came out of the bushes, shot us. The only reason we survived is somebody came and they dragged us into their home and waited till the cops came. That's a big thing that I deal with, have dreams about. And just all the instances of houses getting shot up. My house got shot up. My mom was involved in a lot of bad things when I was a kid. So everything that she got into affected us as children. One time she owed some people money, and we were just little kids, and they came and busted out all our windows and came and threatened her. I was like 9 years old, laying on the ground, and I remember the SWAT team coming by and my mom's boyfriend stuffing drugs into my socks, telling me to hide. Just all kinds of things, man. And growing up in that neighborhood and that kind of life it felt like a traumatic experience every day, man. Every time we walked out of the house, even with the police, we'd get hemped up all the time and just harassing us for no reason. So, yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's more. There's probably hundreds of more stories, but it was just always something, man. It was never let off until I got out of that life. But some people aren't as lucky. Some people can't. I mean, I couldn't. That's where I was at. I mean, that's where I had to grow up. That's what I had to deal with. And I know a lot of other people have to deal with that every day, and even worse than what I had to deal with.